night, but for some reason my live was tripping. So I brought my Gaga's children, my sons, my SUNs, my Gaga's sons to go and see a movie last. Hold on. Yeah, Ghostbusters wasn't starting until 7:30. So and also what else? It was Kung Fu Panda wasn't starting until 6:45. And so one of them had been wanting to see Godzilla and Kong, the new movie that just came out. Um it's not a movie that you want to try to watch on bootleg. Like, you definitely want the special effects, you definitely want the 3D glasses. But when I tell you it was $53 for the three tickets, and when I tell you and then the popcorn was like, getting the popcorn and the drinks was like 25, $26. So nearly $100 to ultimately be triggered. Um, this is a spoiler alert. So, Kong is beefing with another king of the apes who has control over um because I'm looking at all of them as deities, and I think that's what they represent. On another note, aside from this, it really makes you wonder what billionaires could do with their money. Like when you amass billions and billions of dollars, could you use AI to construct a Kong or a Godzilla? You know, but anyway, I think the way that this story is being told by Asiatic people or whoever's choosing to tell this story, I think that, of course, Kong would be considered a deity to people. I think that the other ape ruler would be considered a deity to people because I'm assuming that these entities live thousands of years. So Godzilla would also be an entity that is sleeping and resting and is a deity. And so Godzilla, first three letters God, which really speaks to patriarchy. And then in this particular movie, Godzilla had like the blue radiations, which is in this paradigm often associated with masculine energy. So when we think pink, we think femininity. When we think blue, we think masculinity. Or sometimes when we see red, we think femininity associated with the blood, the cycle, and then we see blue, we think masculinity. But it's interesting because in different paradigms, blue has been equated to the ocean. Blue has been equated to femininity, flowing like the cycle again. And red has been associated with fire and passion and aggression. And so, in different paradigms, different colors have equated different things. But in our paradigm, blue is typically associated with masculinity, and pink or red is typically associated with femininity. So, anyway, Kong has this beef with another ape who has taken power over this feminine deity, Shimei or something like that, and it's a feminine deity that has the power to breathe on things and turn them into ice. And so the ape has imprisoned her and made her his slave. And so, it's the subliminals of this, like these apes, the ape race. This is like a connection with man, having opposable thumbs, walking upright, and this man having power over the gods, like man ruling the gods, like man having harnessing the power of the goddess, if you will. So there was a lot of subconscious, like even this ice being elemental, like an elemental factor. And so it's like, you know this being that is relatable to man, having opposable thumbs, having power to harness this feminine deity's energy, who is able to manipulate the weather by turning things into ice. So anyway, Kong loses the battle with this one because he's harnessed the power of this deity. Now, he's gonna need Godzilla's help. So Godzilla comes, and Godzilla ready to fight Kong. But before Godzilla comes, Godzilla goes into the water and challenges an ancient deity by the name of Tiamat. Now, we've heard the name of Tiamat. We know that a lot of Ebenoid people are known for worshiping a goddess related to Egyptian culture whose name is Tiamat. So Godzilla goes and um has a really quick battle with Tiamat that doesn't last long and rips Tiamat's neck off and sucks Tiamat dry of all of Tiamat's energy. And it's almost like there's a transition happening. It's almost like Godzilla is becoming Godzilla, but Tiamat as well. So it's like did Godzilla transition? Like, did Godzilla like shapeshift into a whole one? Like, what is going on with Godzilla? What? But this was the part, like that was the part that was kind of racist for me, because Tiamat was a dark colored entity. Tiamat, what couldn't have been white. Tiamat couldn't have been a white dragon. Tiamat happened to be black. Tiamat was pretty much the same color as Godzilla, but made differently. And Godzilla attacks Tiamat, rips Tiamat's head off, goes into Tiamat's lair, and siphons off all of Tiamat's energy. And then Godzilla and Kong get into a beef with each other, and there's these people that have the power to awake something called Mothra, and they're Asiatic people. And a lot of the Asiatic people are, they have not much melanin, but you can tell that they're of color. And the one who is like the most respected, like the oracle, like the high priestess, she just happens to be the fairest skinned one, like the lightest one. And she's passing down this power to this girl, or preparing this girl for this power. So she just conveniently happens to be the lightest of all of them there, which is where colorism really, really kind of just steps in and says, "Hey, how are you?" And it's like, okay, we are of color, we are Asian, so it's, if we are of color and we say it's okay to support racism, it's okay to be colorist, we approve this message. Like, that's what it kind of gave me. Like, we're gonna use Asians or Asiatic people as a token race to kind of like say, hey, we racism's okay. Like, you get to be a racist, you get to be a racist, you get to be a racist, or you get to be a colorist, you get to be a colorist, and you get to be a colorist. Like, that's what it was kind of given at certain points in the movie. So anyway, after the lighter skinned Asiatic being passes down the power to the younger girl, or tells this girl of her destiny telepathically, which I did like. One thing we know, when they bring in the sign language people, it's a budget. You know, it's a budget. They're like they had sign language throughout the movie. They had a community of people that were speaking telepathically. It was 3D. But when the sign languages entered the chat, when we saw that they were signing in the movie, we knew that it was a nasty budget. So we knew that y'all had spared no expense and invested into this narrative. So Mothra awakens and convinces Godzilla that Godzilla is supposed to join forces with King Kong, and together they can confront the Ape King, and so Godzilla's son ends up taking on I mean gets courage and fights back, which I love. They're doing a lot of this, you know, with like the little babies. Like I saw in the baby in Good Times was really doing like a great was a protector, you know, it really gives me like some new age baby Jesus vibes because we see baby Jesus laying in a manger. What babies today is holding gats and making boss calls and protecting the family, just like the little baby ape was protecting Kong in the movie. So like it's interesting the role that they're taking with like the little ones, in modern day storytelling, like how they're making the baby, like babies used to just be peacefully sleeping in a manger. Now we got babies holding gats and selling drugs and protecting the family, and we got baby Kong out here in these streets protecting his daddy. Fighting old apes and stuff. So, I thought that was interesting. I find that interesting what we doing with the babies in today's storytelling, what we're doing with the youth. Anyway, so Godzilla and Kong are collaborating together. And I want to say this before I forget to say it. You cannot compare you cannot compare um the new good times with Boondocks to me. The reason why you can't compare wait, I'm gonna have to call you back. You cannot compare the new good times with you cannot compare the new good times with Boondocks because the new good times had a lot of strong female leads. Boondocks was a patriarchal story. Boondocks was the grandfather and the grandboys, period. Good Times had a lot of strong female leads. Y'all trying to compare it. Y'all trying to say, oh, Boondocks would come back and Boondocks would do this. Like, it's not the same story. It's two different stories. Anyway, back to Godzilla. So, I want to wrap this up by saying that literally when and Godzilla and Kong make it to the final fight, all of a sudden, once the spell is broken and the white deity, the white one that's been enslaved is freed, the white one then freezes the monkey to death because the monkey has been using the white deity to do all of these evil things. And so the crazy part is in the very end of the movie, Kong comes in riding on the white it's like a white Godzilla type figure, a white goddesszilla, if you will, comes in riding on her back and then kind of like pets her like she's a good bitch. Like she's like, cause she's on four legs, like kind of pets her like she's a good bitch. And so now they the best of friends. They best buddies now that she has been freed of the master who literally had a whip and was using the whip to control her. Like it was just a lot. Like you kind of sympathize with the white dragon, but you see all the capacity that was had for her. She didn't have to die. She ended up living. And I'm just wondering where was that grace for Tiamat? Like why TMI couldn't get that grace. And then another thing was it was so crazy, like the little Asiatic girl who had the power to awaken Mothra, how you have your whole tribe and you're here doing all this amazing work to help save the world as y'all know it or the world as y'all understand it. And then all of a sudden you give that all up to go and live with your white mama. And what that made me think about was like, I wonder if in society, if this is a real thing, like white parents intentionally being tasked with adopting like children of other races and other ethnicities so that they can cultivate these children in a way that helps to maintain the status quo, that helps to maintain this matrix, that helps to maintain society as it is, that helps to keep things as they should be, pretty much. So I'm wondering if there's like some secret meetings or like some secret conversations that are happening where Caucasian people, in specifically, who uphold to patriarchy, who uphold to colonization, who uphold to the traditional ways in which America is run, who like are total patriots and who just like really, really believe in America. Like if they're being tasked, like if they're being intentionally tasked with going out into society and adopting children who are not Caucasian, adopting children who are African, who are Black Indigenous, who are Indonesian, who are Japanese, who are Chinese, like being just tasked with doing this so that society will remain. Because it was just so amazing that this girl was willing to leave all of her culture, everything that had been passed down in her, like her whole civilization, her whole city. Like she was willing to leave all of that to go back home and live with her white mama, with her Caucasian mama. Like it was just they made it hard. They made it heartwarming, but it was really like. And then what was gagging me was when the black man started crying. Like the black man was literally crying when the little Asian girl was ready to give up her culture and ready to give up everything that she knew and go back home and live with her Caucasian mama. And the black guy was just sitting in the back in tears. And I was like, a lot of this makes sense. And I'm looking around in the movie theater because I saw a couple of Godzilla and Kong movies. I remembered it being racist when I was little, and maybe that's probably why I stopped watching it. But you don't think when you go back to the movie, 10, 20 years later, it's still gonna be racist. Like you don't really think that. Like, I mean, I wasn't expecting to go and get a racist story when we're talking about monkeys and dragons and sea creatures. I wasn't really expecting to get all of these subliminal racist undertones, but it definitely was a lot of them. It definitely was a lot. And it was a lot of black people watching the movie, which was interesting. So that's really all I have. I didn't want to belabor this and talk about this too long. I just wanted to come on and give my review. The movie was cinematically gorgeous. Um, the special effects were interesting. Yeah, it was good. Like we watched it from beginning to end. All of us, it kept our attention, but it was racist, and I definitely made sure it was known after the movie was over, because I looked at both of them and I like said it, like we talked about it in the car on the way home. No, we're not just gonna enjoy the movie and eat the popcorn and the candy and pretend like they didn't just play in our face, like they didn't just charge us to trigger us. We're not finna do that. Like we're gonna have a conversation about this movie. It was definitely racist. It was good. It was good to watch. The popcorn was good. We brought butter seasoning from home and we added plenty of butter. The drinks, the soda was soda in, the popcorn was popcorn in, and the snacks and the candies were snacking. but the movie was and the production quality was qualitying, but it was still racist. Anyway, down with an that I say cool, it keeps spinning and turning Iangani, Ianko, Kalukalo, which means I am a child of God. Goddess, and if I am, then you know you are. Love y'all later. Mwah.